Welcome to my CG Products Breakdown series. Now, in this series, I'll simply be walking you through the creation process behind every 3D product that I create. All right. Now, I need you to understand that this series is not going to be a step-by-step tutorial to how to create the product, but then I'll simply be walking you through how I created the product. All right, it's not going to be step by step, but yeah, it's actually very educative and quite interesting because it's going to be like a chit chat kind of thing. Yeah, so in this episode, which is the first episode, I'm going to walk you through how I created this amazing render a couple of days ago. All right, I created this product a couple of days ago, and as usual, we'll be starting with the modeling, and then from modeling we are going to move to layout and framing. From framing we'll go to lighting and texturing, and then we are going to move to labeling and rendering as the final aspect. All right, so remember to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and turn on the bell notification icon so you'll be notified whenever I upload the next episode of this series or any other video. All right, so without further ado, let's get started. So as I mentioned earlier, we are going to start with the modeling aspect, and with the modeling it was actually quite easy. I simply added a circle, did some extrusions here and there, and then I scaled the bottom part in, as you can see, and then added a bevel modifier. With the bottom, I needed the bottom to look like this. I don't know if you can see. Yeah, so I needed the bottom to look like that, so that was why I inserted those faces, just so it can there can be a dent in there. So for the upper parts, I simply I duplicated a ring on the top actually, and then I give it a skin modifier, scaled it down, and and then with a bevel and a subdivision modifier, I had some rounded look like this. Yeah, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, so it was an amazing process. It was quite an interesting process. I had fun whilst creating it. It was quite easy. It's fairly easy though. And at this point, I was trying to create the upper parts, where the spray, I don't know what to call it, whether it's a diffuse something, whatever. So I was trying to extrude the upper parts just so I can have some circular parts on the top. Yeah. So that is what I'm trying to do right now. What I was trying to do. So fast forward, at this point I was trying to create the part where when you press the top of the spray, the spray comes out, that hole in there. I don't know what to call it, that hole in there. And so I had to select a couple of faces and then choose the loop. What's the name? Is it loop cut add-on? Yeah. And then I chose the loop cut add-on, and then I added it, and this is how I got this circular part you are seeing. Pardon me for that. So at this point, I was just trying to create an inner part. There is one circular inner in there, and I was just trying to replicate it. And I don't know, for some reason the circle wasn't circling. I don't know why it wasn't circling. Yeah, so at this point, I think I'm 70% complete right now. And this is the most annoying part of the project, because I was trying to create the cork or the cover of the perfume, and this is how the cover looks like. I don't know if you can see it properly. The shape, it looks like the upper part is triangular and then the bottom is kind of circular. So I was trying to use the bridge edge loops to create that that shape, but then for whatever reason I tried so many times, it wasn't working. I think I have to go back and watch a couple of videos on the bridge edge loops function. Yeah, but I tried several times, and then I finally ended up with something that was actually quite similar. It wasn't the same though, but then it was actually quite similar to what I wanted. Okay, so I got the upper part with something like a design on both faces, and it was quite nice. Yeah, so at this point I was just doing, undoing, adding more subdivisions, trying and untrying all over again, just to see if the edge loops are actually going to bridge. God, Yeah, so I think this is where everything kind of checked out for me, and I had to move some of the vertices. I had to move some of the vertices closer so that I can have this point you are seeing. So that I can have some of these points you are seeing, and this is the shape I'm talking about. I don't know. I feel like this shape is actually quite nicer as compared to the real one. It looks nicer as compared to the actual one, though. So yeah, I'm cool. I'm cool with it. I'm glad I got this shape, even though I didn't plan to get it. No. Yeah. So this is just the cock. Oh, why am I still? Okay, so at this point, I think I was creating the upper part of the cover. This green part that's on top. Yeah, and basically I just duplicated the ring on top, and then I just added an extrusion. I selected some of the edges and then I added an extrusion to it. I extruded it to the bottom, and then I added a solidifier modifier, and then that was it. At this point, I think I duplicated some of the edges and I didn't notice, so I had to delete them and retry. So I did the extrusions and then added a solidifier modifier, and that was it, and I was good to go. Yeah. So in case you are wondering what perfume it is, it's, I don't know, it's a Cafe Couture. So Cafe Couture, I don't know if you can see Cafe Couture. So yeah, it's time for our layout and framing. So you see the modeling was actually quite easy, so let's go to the layout and framing. So for the layout and framing, I didn't really do much. I didn't model much. I have a couple of assets on my PC, so I just imported them. But then at this point, I was just trying to create, a base for the product to sit on. Okay, yeah. But then, pardon me, I have a cough. So guys, you guys gotta pardon me for that. Yeah. So all right. So at this point, I was trying to import my, what do you call it? My room model. I think honestly, I noticed that I have a lot of assets on my PC, but I hardly use them. I mean, I don't remember the last time I used any of my assets. But this year I'm definitely using my assets for sure. So this is a room model that I found on my PC that I actually have. I think I used this back in 2019 on an animation. I can show it to you. Maybe I'll show it to you at the end of the video if I can find it. So I just placed the spray or the product just beside the speaker or whatever it is. I think it's a speaker. Yeah, that's a speaker. Then I just duplicated it, rotated it a bit, just so I can have some variation in there. You get it? And then with the camera, I had to delete the default one because I don't know, for some reason it wasn't I don't know, for some reason it wasn't snapping to the view, so I had to delete it. And then after deleting it, I changed the ratio to, I think, about 2000 to 2000 pixels or so, because I'll be posting it on Instagram. Yeah. So, and then I added a lamp from the YouTube. I added a lamp from the Blender. I don't know, library or something. What is it called? I don't know. There is this. What do you call it? So for the lightning and texturing, actually the entire process was actually quite simple. The lightning, I just wanted there to be a cast shadow on the product in front of how do I even say it, in front, like where it is, and I wanted the shadow to come from the window, so I simply placed a spotlight at the window, and then I made the spotlight face the window, and I actually increased the power so high just so that I can get the actual brightness that I want. At this point, I hadn't added the textures or the materials yet because I wanted to do the lighting first before I go to the texture. So as you can see, I could I actually had what I was looking for. I just needed there to be some shadows in there. And don't mind my cycles. Yeah, I've been dealing with that for quite some time. Yeah, so at this point I was trying to add my texture, so I just give these an emission shader, which is actually quite simple. Just delete the principled BSDF and just add an emission shader, connect it to the surface, and then you can just increase the power to like 20, 30, and then I give that triangular thing on top, whatever it's called, an emission, but this time it was with the principled BSDF. All right, yeah. And for the room, I actually wanted to light up the room, but I felt like that would be a waste of time and waste of light and effort and a whole lot. So I just deleted some of the things in there, and then I just added an environment texture, just so that the environment texture can add more, can contribute a bit more environment light to the scene. So I can get the exact feel that I wanted. All right, so I just added one light too at the right side, just so I can get something like a 3 point light. But then it wasn't 3 lights. I didn't add 3 lights. It was just 2 with an environment. Yeah. So at this point, I just added a wood texture to the wooden plank under the product, which is quite easy. I simply added an image texture, and then I chose the image. I chose a wooden image as the texture. I literally didn't do any other thing. I just had to tweak a couple of things in the principal BSDF, but then I didn't really do much. Right. All right. Yeah, that's cool. And one thing that I also want to mention is that I feel like sometimes when we are creating shaders or materials, I feel like we need to do a whole lot or add too much. But then a lot of things contribute to how realistic or how good looking a texture is. All right, it doesn't mean that you need to add so many nodes, stack up so many nodes, and get the actual texture. So far as you are getting the look you are going in for, then for me, I'm good to go, because I learned this from Derek Elliott, because I love how he creates his materials. His process is literally so simple. His materials are so simple. So I like to create simple materials. I don't like to stress over materials. Yeah. So at this point, I think I was just trying to listen to some songs. I was listening to music. I like to work with music, so I was just listening to music. Actually trying to find the right song. Did I find the right music to listen to? I think I did. Yeah, so let's continue. So at this point, I was just still adding textures, tweaking materials, and adding, subtracting, dividing, multiplying, and doing everything I have to do to get what I want to get. That is what I'm doing. Yeah. So at this point, I think I was just giving the TV screen an emission material, just so that it can also contribute to the lighting of the environment. And just so you know, whilst I was creating this, I had in mind that I wanted this to have this warm kind of environment, this warm feel. All right, so whilst I was lighting up the scene, I made sure that my lights always had, my lights were yellowish and orange, yellowish and orange, within the yellow and orange category, just so I can have that warm feel. All right, so that is why I was choosing that color. In case you are wondering why I'm choosing yellow and orange with my colors or my lights, that is why, because I wanted a warm environment, a warm feel, like you saw in the thumbnail. Yeah. So at this point, I still haven't added the texture yet, but I was trying to see what I have, and I feel like this is quite okay. This is good. This is good, bruh. This is good. I mean, yeah, it could be better, but it's good. And so at this point, I think I had to do a test render, just so I can see the final view before I texture the product itself. all right, before I texture the product itself. And texturing the product isn't that difficult. I simply used Affinity Designer, but it's cool. You can use any other software you want to try. All right, so we'll get there in a minute. All right, so before we get there, let's just enjoy this. All right, cool. So test render, testing. So now that the test render is complete, we are about to go to the labeling and final rendering. So with the labeling, I had to just do everything in Affinity Designer. If you're an Affinity user, this is actually not that difficult. I simply created a new document with a 9020 by 1080 resolution, and I created a long couple of bars, duplicated them, gave them a black and white. Now the reason I used the black and white is because I was thinking of connecting the image into the mix RGB node. I was thinking of connecting the image into the mix RGB node so that I can have I can be able to change the colors in the mix RGB node, because it works with two colors, black and white. So I'll just connect it into the factor circuit and then I'll change it in the colors below. And so that is why I'm working in black and white. So in case you want to add a label to any product, I think that is one thing you can do. And in case you want an entire tutorial on this, on how to add labels to products, I think you can also leave a comment in the comment section. I'll check it out and I'll do my best to help you out. All right, so let's continue. So at this point I was just creating the label, typing, adding text, typing and typing. Oh. Yo, whilst we are watching this, I just want us to have a little bit of chit chat. We are learning though, but we can have a chit chat. Yeah. So lately I've been playing Far Cry 3, and I'm actually enjoying the game. Like, the game is actually quite amazing. It's really amazing. I saw the video on this guy's channel. Is it Hollow? Yeah, Hollow. Yeah, that guy. I literally love his gaming videos. They are so amazing. All right, can we go back to this now? Yeah. So I just added the label, and then, like I said, I connected it to the mix RGB node, and then I gave it the red and green, light green color, and so they took effect in the image. All right, so as you can see, in case you didn't get it, you can reverse the video a bit, take it back a bit, and then take a good look at it. All right. Yeah, so let's continue. So at this point I was simply adding the textures, and I was adding some roughness and some stuff. Actually I wanted to add some imperfections to the can, but then I was kind of in a hurry to render, so I didn't do that. But then later on I think I might refine the render, and then I would repost it out here for you guys to see, and then you can compare the previous one to the updated one. All right. Yeah. So at this point I was just labeling my objects and making sure everything is in order. and you know, arranging my products for a nice composition for rendering and stuff. Yeah, so that is all I was doing at this point. That's literally what I was doing at this point. Yeah, as you can see. Yeah, so um I kind of, okay, camera, can you see me? All right, so I kind of did something whilst I was working. I added two cameras in my scene, and I could actually switch between them. I know you are wondering how I'm able to do that. Probably you are wondering how I'm able to do that. It's quite simple. You can add multiple cameras to your scene. All you have to do is that if you want to switch, or if you want to make another camera the active camera, all you have to do is hold Control on the keyboard and then press 0 on your numpad, and then that camera becomes the active camera. All right, yeah. Now there is a way you can also switch between cameras when animating too, but I think we would have to look at that another time. Yeah, so this one was just a test render to see what we have. And the scene looks quite amazing. Actually, it looks really good. It looks really good. Like, I'm happy with this. Yeah, let's enjoy. All right, so I guess this is the final render. Now this isn't the final render. After this, I did a bit of compositing using Affinity Photo, and in Affinity Photo I used a plugin that was given to me by the people at the Hansa Affinity. What's the name of the Hansa Photo plugin? Yeah, I think it's just a plugin that you can use to, enhance your photo effects and give it a film-like look. All right, so that was what I used for the compositing and post processing. All right, I didn't do anything. I didn't do any of the compositing in Blender. This is the raw render that I got from Blender, and so this is the video. I hope you guys enjoyed this series, or this first episode of the series. I hope you guys had fun. I hope, I wish we could, chat. I'm trying to look at ways that I can make this a lot more interactive and make this a lot more educative and fun. All right, so if you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate if you can subscribe to the channel, like the video, and please leave a comment and tell me what you think about this video, or what you think about this series. All right, please, no harsh comment, no harsh comment, no harsh comments. So I was about saying, without further ado, until next time, stay creative, guys.